When is it a good time to accumulate altcoins? Welcome to Crypto Simulation Theory. I'm the Gaussian Snake. We're going to answer that question tonight by looking at a lot of different metrics. It's going to be a really important video for you. If you're looking to make some serious money, this is not financial advice, so do your own research, of course. Be sure to also join my Telegram group and follow this channel for more content like this. So let's go ahead and get started. The altcoin market is a retail driven market. We know that Bitcoin and Ethereum are also driven by retail, especially in the mania phases, but they're also being driven institutionally now. So the huge amount of money, like the huge returns, they're going to be found, in the altcoin market. Now, since retail drives the altcoin market, we want to start to look for signs of people showing up and showing interest in crypto on Twitter, on Telegram, and so one of the most simple metrics is just to look around you. Are people talking about crypto? Is crypto showing up in the news? That's kind of something that you can look at. Is Bitcoin in an uptrend? That's kind of a prerequisite. So, but I want to look at some social data, and I'm just going to go through a bunch of charts that can be very instructive to telling us if altcoin accumulation might be a good idea right now, and or if altcoin season's already here. Now there is an altcoin season index that we can look at that will tell us if altcoin season is officially here. But generally speaking, you don't want to wait for that thing to trigger, because if it does, you probably missed out on the accumulation opportunity of a lifetime, which is a very small window in time if you consider like the 4 year cycle that we've more or less been in. So, looking at the new weekly Twitter followers of crypto exchanges, we can see that this is way down this week, which is kind of surprising. I anticipate some of this will probably pick up towards the end of the year, but layer one accounts down, data and research services down, popular services down, layer two down, page views of Wikipedia's Bitcoin page have kind of crept up a little bit. Let's notice that may have already bottomed, but it's not anywhere near levels where we would be calling for like a top. New weekly subscribers of influencers. I'd love to have you. Please go ahead and subscribe. It's down, right? New weekly views of YouTube videos. This has been relatively flat. It hasn't really gone anywhere that meaningful. Tweet volume is starting to come up, which is good. New weekly crypto subreddit subscribers, that has also been down. So overall, most of the social data is down. Of course, some of this is lagging data being picked up this week, but I think that this trend is about to change because Bitcoin has just put in a new all-time high. The election has happened, and let's talk about another thing that could affect altcoin. Okay, so the FOMC meeting, which is today, by the time you're watching this video, it may have already happened. The market is pricing in a 25 basis point rate cut, which seems pretty reasonable, honestly. And then in December, they're thinking that the Fed will be a little bit more aggressive. January, so let's see, if we were at it's like a 50 basis point January, they're predicting the Fed will hold steady and not cut, so we might get a floor. Anyways, things have been changing now that the election is in. You can kind of see here that the CME group believes that rate cuts will hit a floor sometime in near the summer, and so we might be looking for a Bitcoin major cycle top somewhere in here, just based on this data. But this stuff is subject to change, so take it with a grain of salt. But don't take tomorrow with a grain of salt. I think we're most likely getting a 25 basis point rate cut tomorrow. And rate cuts are bullish for altcoins, okay? They are. So this is something to kind of keep in mind heading into there. So that's another sign that, that's probably going to be good for alts. Now, defining altcoin accumulation opportunities is difficult. I'm not saying it was ever easy, but it's more complicated than just looking at one metric. So we have the social metrics, we have the general market metrics. I know the Russell 2000 index has also been showing some signs of life. I want to show you guys another thing too. Let's pull this up. So TLT, the 20-year Treasury bond ETF, it looks to me like it is putting in a head and shoulders here. So I think this inverse head and shoulders, this thing's probably going to take off pretty soon. Another sign that risk on times are coming to the market. So ETH Bitcoin is not the only indicator of a coming altcoin season, but I think the thing is like Do we wait for altcoin season? I don't think so. You want to accumulate alts when the market is kind of, somewhat depressed or boring or, not doing a whole lot, right? You want to kind of like also be sure that the market is transitioning to a risk on phase. But markets front run everything. And so by the time you're figuring something out, you can count on like thousands and hundreds of thousands of people have already figured it out too. We've been following and tracking ETH Bitcoin for a very long time on this channel, and we predicted where the bottoming range would be. And sure enough, that's exactly where we ended up. The yellow line is the 20-week whole moving average. The blue is the 50-week. The white is the 100-week, and the red is the 200-week whole moving average for reference. This orange trend line is a long-term support trend line that flipped resistance recently. And this is a red concave down Gaussian channel that may be starting to fatten a little bit. And that is a sign fattening, inflecting, that a mean reversion is potentially in order. And why you need to watch this closely is because we could actually be in the altcoin accumulation opportunity of a lifetime right now. In fact, I think we are. Um, and so what we're looking for is to accumulate good altcoins. I think you want to be down in this range, right? This is a good range to be in because you're taking on less risk overall. Um, and I'm not going to tell you in this video which altcoins to pick up, right? I'm just kind of like giving you my general sentiment on the altcoin market. So looking at it from that kind of view, certainly looks good. And you can see that on the daily with ETH Bitcoin. It had quite a day today. Um, on the daily, it's starting to move up to its red concave up Gaussian channel, and there's a good chance it penetrates this and the channel goes green. That does not mean that ETH Bitcoin is done dropping. Like it may come back down into this range. In fact, it's quite common for ETH Bitcoin to double bottom, but you can still take advantage of some nice, swing trade moves at the very least if you're into that. If ETH Bitcoin does sort of come up, and I think like I don't think ETH Bitcoin's gonna like, it's gonna be ETH season right away, but I think ETH Bitcoin could potentially test some of these levels. I was calling for a mean reversion on it for a while. If we look at the weekly, let's go to the true strength indicator and take a look at that. See, reverse. It's called the reverse true strength indicator. Whatever. I noticed something on here that it's starting to kind of fight here a little bit, right? To kind of turn back up. It's so far below zero. It's so beaten down, and there just really haven't been many times in ETH Bitcoin's history that it's gotten this beaten down. See, here's like a double bottom on true strength. It's a quite a common occurrence, double bottom, double bottom, double bottom, right? And are we maybe getting a double bottom right now? It could be happening. So this could mark a turn, right? So we have to prepare ourselves for everything. So to me, it's very risky, especially if you're in an aggressive wealth accumulation mode, to be waiting for some kind of signal from the news or something that an altcoin season is here, because by the time you get that signal, altcoin season is probably almost over. Um, something else to look at too is the reverse Chanday RCMO. We can even look on this on the 2 week if we want. Look at that bullish divergence. We have a bullish divergence. Wow, that is a super clear divergence. The channel has turned green, folks. It's turned green. This is the first time it's turned green since earlier this year on the weekly. What about the 2 week? So that's notable. Really bullish pattern on the 2 week. Really bullish. Okay. Yeah. I don't think I need to look at any other indicators. When you know, you know. There is a very good chance that this is either the bottom for ETH Bitcoin or a significant bottom. It is overdue for a bullish divergence. It is just simply overdue for it. It is in an area of really strong support. We know that typically Bitcoin is kind of the star of the show, but that doesn't mean that ETH Bitcoin can't start moving and gradually eating away at Bitcoin dominance. Speaking of Bitcoin dominance, we talked about this last night in my video, but Bitcoin dominance took quite a nice hit. You don't really see it here on the 2 week, but if we go to the daily, you'll see it really clearly. Like we did talk about on this channel about Bitcoin dominance getting into this range of 57 to 63%, and I drew this like line at 60% as kind of a place to look for a potential top. But I did say that Bitcoin dominance could go between 62 and 63%. I still believe that it could do that um, at some point, but we should note is that the Gaussian channel is green and concave up. But this is a pretty significant drop. It's back testing 60%. It's holding there. That was really good for altcoins. But one thing I'll tell you is don't fade dominance just yet, because if we look at and this is where I'm kind of like, Bitcoin and Bitcoin dominance, they don't necessarily correlate perfectly, right? Because there's so many other factors at play now that weren't at play in previous cycles. I think that Bitcoin dominance is very, very close to being done, right? Like, I think it's going to roll over soon. Is this the point at which it rolls over? I don't know. Like, at this point, I really just don't know. But I'm seeing all the HMAs stacked again. This is 20, 50, 100, and 200 are all stacked really beautifully. So I'm not going to take this pullback seriously until there's a little bit of follow through. If we start to go underneath this 20 and we're heading back down this way, well, to me, yeah. I mean, then Bitcoin dominance might just have topped it already. Like, I don't know, right? And when I'm in the I don't know area, to me, it's too risky to stay out of the altcoin market. So if we look at the ASO, or average sentiment oscillator, for Bitcoin dominance and compare it to past cycles, I probably want to pull this up on a 2 week, not on a weekly, just because there's just too much noise on the week. If we look on the 2 week, I mean, look at Bitcoin dominance has never been this strong for this long. You're just like playing with fire at this point if you're like staying out of the altcoin market, right? Because sorry, I was trying to get this to fit on the screen, but I'm trying to fit way too much data. I feel like I'm just playing with fire, because how much longer can this stay so strong before it comes down and starts printing some red? I mean, this is like the longest it's ever been green for, ever. So keep that in mind. I think that, Bitcoin dominance is something that can tell you when to kind of switch sides, and it's telling me right now, like, if I had a lot of Bitcoin, how much of an ROI or return, like, people get so caught up in like the price, like, oh, Bitcoin's gonna go to 100,000, or Bitcoin's gonna go to 150K. Folks, that's like a 2x if it goes to 150K. A freaking 2x. You can get a bigger return out of Ethereum, most likely, and even some Dino coins at this point. Okay. So to me, like, yes, Bitcoin is the least risky, and Bitcoin may still outperform, you know, large a lot of altcoins that are pieces of crap. But I think the tides are turning. The trend is changing, and I do not think 2025 will be a Bitcoin year. It's absolutely, beyond arguing that 2024 has been a Bitcoin year. I won't argue on that at all. But I'm just seeing signs that staying out of altcoins right now can be very, very risky. Another place that we'll look, and we looked at this last night, so I apologize if some of this is a little repetitive, but I'm trying to offer you like a slightly different perspective than what I did last night, going a little more detail on certain things. This is others dominance. And look at what others dominance is doing. See, I talked about, like, yeah, it broke this trend line to the downside, but I don't think that this is going to stick as resistance. I think it's going to come back up. So to me, we are in a very tight altcoin accumulation window. I don't think that we have much time. I really don't. We had all this time to accumulate altcoins on the way down here. We're still in a decent altcoin accumulation range, but when blast off happens, it happens so fast. Let's look at the ASO on others dominance. Look at it's at super high levels, like on bearishness, right? So when you see the red so high on others dominance, you see the green so high on Bitcoin dominance, it can only mean one thing, and that is others dominance's bearishness is probably over. We're going to get back above this trend line, I think, and blast through this Gaussian channel and start a new bull trend. Look at this. This is going to end up being a beautiful double bottom, right? That's what I'm seeing. That is my prediction. And of course, predictions can be wrong. Although at Crypto Simulation Theory, we have a pretty good track record because we have multiple analysts. We don't believe that there's a single guru, right? We don't believe that the Gaussian snake is the biggest guru, right? We understand that I may not see something that another analyst might see. So we have multiple analysts on our channel, and it's entirely free. Maybe it's a pride thing, I don't know, or maybe I'm just like very empathetic. But I feel like the money that I want to make is not off your subscriptions, because I don't have a subscription service. I want to make the money in the market to not only to prove to myself, but to prove to my followers that my technical analysis not only serves you, but it serves me as well. And I can make money off the market. So where I hopefully don't have to make money off of my followers. That doesn't mean I would never start some kind of service here. It's just more of a message of what we're about at Crypto Simulation Theory. So if that sounds good to you, go ahead and join our free Telegram group below. We already have almost 300 members there, and we're a tight knit group, even with that number of members. We're very tight knit, great spirits in there, lots of different perspectives on the market. We'd love to have you. I'd also love to have you like, comment, and subscribe to this video. With the social risk so low, it's getting really hard to get my videos out there. So I could use all the help I could get from you guys. Subscribe, share, do all that for me, and get my content through the algorithm so I can, be higher up in the search rankings. Hard for new channels, small channels like this to grow. Although I am happy with the pace at which I have grown. I'm not really like needing to have like, a million followers, anything crazy like that. It's just it's nice to get, people into the group, get new perspectives. That's what it's about. Your perspective is a perspective that I want to hear about as well. So what do you think? Do you agree with me that the altcoin accumulation opportunity of a lifetime is right now, and that it has been ongoing for months, and that now we're starting to accumulate altcoins in an uptrend rather than in a downtrend? I'm just worried that some people, they're going to let altcoin season just get away from them, and before they know it, they'll be like, "Oh my God, I can only make like a 4x off of this altcoin that I could have made 25x on." So, that's my concern. Again, this is not financial advice. Please do your own research. Please disagree with me if something I said doesn't mesh with you. But other than that, I'll see you in my Telegram channel, or I'll see you here on YouTube, wherever you prefer, both maybe. All right, so go ahead, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you next time in the crypto simulation.